Hello, I'm Corinne Worsley and welcome to the Live on Purpose show. So I'm really excited to be here with you sharing this very first episode of the Live on Purpose show. Some of you may know me from my previous iteration doing Feminine Truth Conversations, but this is my new avenue, the new way in which I am going to be bringing you episodes, information, interviews. This is also the way the name of the program that I work with my one-to-one clients in at the moment. And ultimately this is my mission in life, to help people live on purpose. So as I said, I'm really excited to be here with you for this very first episode. And today what I'm going to do is give you a bit of an introduction to who I am, for those of you who don't know me, and also talk to you a little bit about what does it mean to live on purpose and what does that mean for the show going forward. So what kind of content can you expect coming up? So for those of you who haven't met me, my name is Corinne Worsley and I'm a life coach, speaker and podcaster and YouTube show host. And I have not always been a life coach. This is my latest career iteration, and it is something that my own journey has led me into. So I'll give you a very potted history of my journey. So I am from the north of England, from a really normal family, grew up very multi-passionate person, also quite a high achiever. And ultimately, once I left university, I kind of, instead of really following my passions, following my heart, I followed my head, because I'd kind of learnt to do that rather than following my heart. Again, something we'll maybe get into in further episodes. And I chose my career very deliberately based on what I thought was going to earn me the most money and bring me the most success, however you define success. For me at that point it was house, car, plenty of money, and freedom. But I hadn't quite figured out at that point that freedom did not involve working, or does not involve, in my opinion, working for a paycheck every month. But again, topic for a future podcast episode. So I began my career working as a translator because my degree was in French literature. I'm a linguist at heart. That was they were always my best subjects when I was at school. Came really naturally to me. And that, although it might seem completely unrelated what I'm doing now, there is a thread, which again, maybe I'll talk about on a later podcast. And ultimately, within about 8 or 9 months of being a translator, I was crying in the toilet because I was just so miserable and bored, and this was not my gift at all. It's just me, 2 old biddies, and a computer and a translation engine, whatever you want to call it, sitting in an office all day, every day, and this was not going to be my life. And so I decided I would change it. So I decided I was going to qualify as an accountant. There was logic there. Ultimately, the logic, I think, was that I recognised maybe if I can add this accounting qualification to my language, then I'm going to be able to have a multinational career. And so I embarked on that. I went a very circuitous route compared to many, in that I started work as an AP clerk, did my first year of accounting qualification, got made redundant from that role, but I was delighted to leave and to be paid to leave, because it meant I was moving on to the next thing. Found myself eventually a job as an assistant accountant, and within 6 months was again bored and thinking, this is not going to be my life. I'm not going to sit here and do reconciliations every single month for the rest of my years. Hell no. And the universe agreed. So the universe agreed in that somehow head office had discovered that I spoke French and a French speaker was needed for a project that was happening. I got called down to work in Hemel Hempstead at the head office. I was in the north of England at that point, in Bury, and started working on IT transformation projects, and I spent 10 years doing that. So I was always taking opportunities and crafting my path, even though that path was not necessarily aligned with my biggest passion, but I really wasn't self-aware enough. I didn't know myself enough to know what my gift really was on this earth. But what I did figure out, which was around about 2013, was that I was working really, really hard, doing 70 hours a week. I even worked 19 days straight at one point. And I just had no passion for what I was doing. I was getting more and more stressed by what I was doing, and feeling less and less reward. Sure, I was working as a consultant, a contractor, so the money was great. More money than I'd ever dreamed I would earn. But living in the southeast, it didn't quite go as far as it would have done in the north. And also I felt like I was the opposite of free, because I'd kind of spent my way into this lifestyle that I needed to keep earning that much money to maintain. And my body was starting to hurt from the stress. The travel was no longer fun, because it really meant when I was 50% away from home 50% of the time, that I really had no means of establishing a life, friendships, relationships. I was just constantly on the go. And, I couldn't go to my dance lessons regularly. Just wasn't the right balance for me. And I just was not passionate about what I was doing. And for me, being a very passionate person, I'm a Leo. I really have that fire in my belly, a lot of fire in my astrological chart. And to be tied to a 9-to-5, going into work, playing with Excel spreadsheets, was not what I was put on this earth to do. I knew that much. So I had this little niggle inside that this was not what I was put here to do. And the universe presented me with a life coach. And I went to a vitality fair, and there she was. I walked up to her stand, had a brief chat with her. We had a brief conversation on the phone, and that was it. I was working with her, and I was figuring out what the hell my purpose in life was. So, through our work together, I established that I was actually really, really interested in this coaching thing, and the kind of business it was going to enable me to create. But really what excited me was what I was learning on my own journey about myself and about life. I really wanted to share with other people. And that, again, is something I've learned that I am here for. Everything that I learn, I am here to pass on to other people. And also what really excited me was the idea of building a platform where I could bring in other people's expert knowledge and share it with other people. So I knew right then that I was never going to be the expert in everything, in all of these different areas of life that I was learning about. But there were experts out there that I could call on and share their information, their expertise with other people. So that was the beginnings of this iteration. And it's taken me a good few years to get where I am. I had to stay in that career for a little longer than I would have liked, or so I thought, because of, for financial reasons. And because I stayed too long in a place where I was just completely misaligned, I ended up burning out, causing myself some pretty significant health challenges, which I am still working on now, but which have given me so much wisdom that I am really excited to share that with people, because I know there are going to be many people out there suffering from the same things needlessly. And so even when I left my corporate job, it took me a few years to be mentally and physically in the right place to be able to be of use to anybody. I was in that place of sorting myself out, putting my own oxygen mask on first before I could really do this work for other people. And that's why, I've spent a good few years up and down, consistent and not so consistent in getting clients and putting my message out there. And now I'm really feeling like this is the time that I have enough of my own ducks in a row that I am now able to really be of service to other people. Now, that is my meandering journey as to how I came to be doing this, and who I now work with ultimately are those people who've just got a niggle that what they're doing, the way they're living, the life they're living is not it. There has to be more to life than this. Their lives look full on the outside but feel empty on the inside. That's where I was. I had the car, I had the apartment, I had a great job. Most people, when I decided I was going to leave my job, thought I was insane. Why would you leave such an amazing job? But the toll it was taking on my happiness and my well-being was too high. And also I just had that niggle that this was not what I was put here to do. And I had enough gumption within me that I felt able to explore. And I naturally am an optimistic and hopeful person, even though it may not seem that way sometimes. But naturally that's my way of being. I will take opportunities. I will always think the best is going to happen. And so that was one of the things I think as well that led me to work with a life coach. Let me see what might be possible. So again, that's what I bring to the work I do with my clients now who are looking to live their lives on purpose. So what do I mean when I talk about living on purpose? For me, this has a double meaning, which is why I like this title so much. So the first meaning is living your life in alignment with your purpose, with the reason that you have been put here. So I fully believe that every single one of us is not here by accident. We are here on purpose, for a purpose, and that it is our job to align with that purpose, or to put it in a slightly better way, that when we align with that purpose, that's when we're going to live the most fulfilling, happy, meaningful life possible. Not to say that it's always going to be easy. We've all got lessons that we are here to learn, but ultimately my belief is that we were put here for a purpose, and that when we align with it, that is when we feel most alive and most on fire. So that's one element of living on purpose. And then the other side of living on purpose for me is about living in a really deliberate way. So many of us, and we're kind of conditioned to believe this and to think this way, we don't really believe that we have that much agency, that much control over the life that we live. It's almost like we feel it's a bit of an assigned life because our parents did X, Y, Z, our grandparents did X, Y, Z, because this isn't possible for people like me, or women have to be like this, or men have to be like that. And what we don't realize, or that we're just not educated in, is that we really do get to create our lives on a moment-by-moment basis based on the choices that we're making, the thoughts we're thinking, the actions that we're taking. Sometimes it feels like our life is out of our control, but actually every single thing that we do is deliberately creating the life that we're living. There's very, very little that's actually out of our control. And so that is going to be a huge element of what I'm going to share with you on this podcast, on this show, is this idea of we get to deliberately create our reality, to create the life that we want to live, as much as it may not feel possible at some times. That's what I'm here for. I'm here to challenge you and to open your eyes to the idea that actually you've probably got way more control than you think over how your life goes, and your happiness, and what you get to do in this life. So those are the two elements of living on purpose that I want to bring to you via this show. And as regards what I am going to contribute to this podcast, because I am fully expecting to have contributions from other people as well, I'm going to bring to you a flavour of what I work with my one-to-one coaching clients on, as well as learnings from my very own journey. So my journey has taken me down many, many paths. So I have explored not just career, what am I good at? What are my strengths? What are my weaknesses? What kind of job do I want to do? Which is, it's all right. It's just not that exciting, really. The juicier stuff is really getting into how did I end up here in the first place? What's going on in my mind? What are my beliefs? What thoughts am I thinking? What do I value in life, really? And am I living in alignment with those values? Or am I completely go off on a different path? And hence, that's why my life feels so rubbish, because I'm completely out of alignment with what is really important to me and not to other people. So I'm going to talk about things like your beliefs, mindset, your values and how you want to feel in life. I'm going to look at goals and ways of goal setting and ways of staying aligned with those goals, ways of making them happen. I'm going to look at the things what it takes to really change your life if that's what you're looking to do, because this is a path that I've been going down the past few years and I've tried many, many things. But ultimately, I'm finding the secret recipe, at least for me, that works, and hence I'm going to share that with you. And I also want to share some of the paths that I've gone down, things like spirituality. For me, I don't believe it's possible to deliberately create our lives and to get aligned with our true purpose in life unless we have some kind of spiritual practice, some kind of recognition that there is something bigger than us here. And again, that's an episode, a future episode of the podcast, of the show. And I'm going to talk as well about sensuality. So my journey has led me to look at my relationship with my own sensuality, with sensuality that's all around me, with sexuality as well. I'm going to look at money, the role that plays in our lives, and again, the beliefs that we have that really shape our financial life and our financial picture. Well-being. I am really, really passionate about well-being. I am a qualified gym instructor. Nearly finished my personal training qualification. I may finish it one day, I may not. I'm not sure just yet. But I know from my own journey how important it is. If we want to be living an aligned and a purposeful and a meaningful life, we have to be taking really good care of ourselves. So nutritionally and mentally and physically, and when it comes to sleep. And again, there's so much information out there on these things that I really want to bring experts in to share with you ways in which, again, we can take control when it comes to our bodies, where we don't have to be reliant on going to the doctor. But there are so many ways in which we can manage our own health and our own healing just by working with nutrition, working with meditation, making sure we're getting plenty of sleep, making sure that we're exercising. So all of these things are going to form part of future podcast episodes. And then whatever might come up as we go through, as I evolve with this show, as we evolve together, those are the kinds of things that I'm going to be bringing to you and sharing with you, and looking at things like play and pleasure. What part do they play in your life? And if you're anything like me, probably very, very little up until not that long ago. Play and pleasure were things that I parked to one side until I had worked hard enough and I had achieved what I was meant to be achieving. But actually that's completely back to front, because if we're not enjoying the process of our lives, then what's the point? Because the only thing we have is the process of our lives. Those goals that we're kind of pushing things to the other side of, they're just one moment in time, and actually we really need to be enjoying the whole process of life. So as you can see, there's so many different things that I want to share with you, that I want to bring to you. And that's my intention with this podcast. It's going to push me out of my comfort zone, but I know I'm going to learn a lot, and I'm hoping that you will also learn a lot as well. So I'm not going to be able to deliver all of that by myself. So like I said at the beginning, my intention is to draw on the expertise of other people, to have guests who are going to bring their wisdom to you and who can help you to ultimately live the best life possible for you, to live as the fullest expression of who you are. My mission, I am now very, very clear on, is that I'm here to educate, inspire, and enable people to live as the fullest expression of who they are. So that means helping you to align with your purpose, to know what your purpose is, to align with it, and to live your life each and every day in alignment with that purpose, so that you will get to the end of your life and you will look back knowing that you did what you came here to do. So that's where this is going. And I hope that excites you as much as it does me, and that you're looking forward to the next episode. The intention is this will be a weekly podcast. I will be bringing you these new episodes every single Saturday, and they will either be me speaking to you specifically about a topic or an expert, and I'll be providing free downloads for anything that I feel is going to be valuable to you, so that you can take them away and you can really get to work on making a difference in your life and creating the change that you want to create in your life. And so, there you have it. That is episode 1 of the Live on Purpose show, all wrapped up for you. I'm looking forward to bringing you the next episode, so watch this space. The next episode will be landing with you in a week's time. And I'd be really, really grateful if you would go ahead and leave me a comment, leave me a review if you're listening to this on iTunes, and share this with anybody who you feel might find this useful. I want to get this wisdom out to as many people as possible. So, thank you so much again for listening and watching, and I look forward to seeing you next time for the next episode of the Live on Purpose show. Bye for now.